Okay, Washington Times article. I usually don't do word on the street, but this time, in this case, I'll make an exception. Um, okay, this is kind of. I mean, I think I have to kind of critique this article because I think it kind of goes overboard. Uh, I too am concerned about the direction of the film. I haven't actually heard anything thematically that would challenge what I think what the story is really trying to bring, other than of course the what was it? I hate this even. I think I maybe blocked it. Unfathomable fate. But yes, so that's an element. Yeah, it could interfere with the themes. But okay, basically, Julia Duin, hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, is talking about the third film and basically what the direction it's taking. And she's says, well, okay, she quotes Douglas Gresham and you know they're talking about changes in the film and whether they're making good changes, whether they're taking away the Christian message. That's basically the gist of the article. Um, and she says, well, Douglas Gresham says that he's ambivalent to changes uh, uh, made in the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Not quite. He was ambivalent to what he was talking about, whether they're necessary or not. And he said he thinks that they're not really necessary, but um, that it was either the film had to get made. Um, Little note here. This really gets down, I think, to whether or not you hire or do you hire directors? I guess you do. Whether you choose a good director. Ultimately, the director has to get his way. That's just the nature of the beast. If you have to hire a good director, you have to hire someone who has good taste, who has good instincts, because if the director doesn't get what he wants, it's going to be a bad film anyway. Maybe if the director gets what he wants, it'll be a bad film. That's happened lots of times. But if you're kind of pushing the director here and there, and he's not getting what he wants, ultimately that's going to hurt the film too, because then he's working against the film will be working against itself intentionally almost because he's trying to still do his thing in other places. That's the case where I think the Lord of the Rings. I mean, did I agree with every one of Peter Jackson's decisions? No, I didn't. There's some cases where um, I have grown more in favor of some of the changes he made. And there's some cases where I am more opposed than I was when I first saw them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is whether the changes are necessary. Well, some changes are going to be necessary. They don't say what kind of changes. Okay. I mean, there's to any good adaptation, there's going to be lots of changes. Boy, I was on forums back in 2000 when we were trying to cover the Fellowship of the Ring, and people freaked out when they thought, "Oh my goodness, they're changing mushrooms to carrots. They're not going to have them being fans of mushrooms. They're going to be fans of carrots. What is happening here?" And I'm going, "Guys, come on!" And of course, they didn't actually end up changing that. It was kind of funny. Um, but uh, I don't know. She basically says, she says, Voyage director Michael Apted, who's admitted to excising a lot of religious connotations out of his 2000 film Amazing Grace, sounds double-minded. Okay, I just have to say, I don't know what. Okay, if he's admitted, let's just take it for granted that's true. I don't know what he took out. Honestly, I thought it was a really good film. I actually loved that film partly because it gave a great message and it wasn't preachy. I hate preachy films. I don't care if it's preaching a message I agree with or if it's preaching a message I disagree with. I dislike preachiness in movies. You know, um, I don't think that Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is preachy. I don't think that Matrix is preachy. I disagree with some of the stuff in Matrix, but Matrix is much more subtle and such. I didn't think that Amazing Grace was preachy. I did think V for Vendetta was preachy. Okay. Oh, and Avatar, yes, it gets preachy too. Still, should see it. Anyway, um, Avatar wasn't too preachy for me. I can stomach it. But no, anyway, the point is, I don't know what he took out. Actually, so I kind of wonder, okay, wait, if he took stuff out, maybe he took out some stuff that would have been bad. Maybe it was a little excessive. I don't know. Maybe it was just too, maybe it was seemed too fake. I don't know. I just know that I liked the movie. I haven't seen what he took out. Maybe I would have liked it. I don't know. But I don't. When I look at Amazing Grace, I don't just take. Oh yes, I can definitely tell he took a lot of religious connotations out of the film. And she says, Apted told Radio FM, New Zealand Christian radio station, he wants to quote present a challenge okay, the film, quote, presents a challenge for me to put the material out there in an even-handed and interesting way, and not to be, in a sense, narrow-minded about it, either narrow-minded in a faith way or narrow-minded in an agnostic way. I have to open my heart to what the stories are about, unquote. And she says, narrow-minded in a faith way? That's going to rev up Christians to see this movie. Sorry, obvious sarcasm, but I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's the matter? I mean, uh, narrow-minded can mean so many different things. I mean, yeah, just because you're called narrow-minded doesn't mean you are, but uh, I mean, he wants to look at what the stories are about, okay? If he's focusing on that, and if he can understand it and get it, that's fine. Look at, I don't think that Peter Jackson, Fran Walsh, and Philippa Boyens went out to write, okay, we're going to do an adaptation of The Lord of the Rings, and it's going to give all of those Christian messages and Christian themes because J.R.R. Tolkien was, devout Roman Catholic, and we're gonna really nail it. That's not what they did. No, they looked at the story and they got the story, and that's what they need to do. If you go in with, I mean, that's all you can do. You can try to read too much into a subtext. Someday maybe I'll do a whole thing debunking the, well, Susan and Lucy are Mary and Martha, and they found the tomb, and no, it's not even allegory. Okay, that's a whole different one. I ought to do one. The Chronicles of Narnia is not allegory. It's not. I'm sorry. Read Pilgrim's Progress or read Everyman. That's allegory for you. But I don't think it's going to be a problem if they focus on the story. Now, if you go in, because I think it actually could be very damaging to these films, if you go in saying, I'm going to put in all the Christian messages, or I'm going to take out all the Christian messages, either one, it will handicap the film. If you try to, I'm going to tell the story. If this theme is strongly represented in the story, I'm going to tell that theme. If this theme is not so much and it's more subtle, well, then I'm going to make it subtle in the movie. That's how you have to do it. You have to tell the story. So, and there's also another quote here. Well, they quote, uh, okay, oh yeah, okay. Ted Baer, publisher of Movie Guide and president of the Christian Film and TV Commission, read one of the earlier scripts for Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and told me the movie would have veered in a bizarre direction had then Disney president Dick Cook not held the line. Okay, we heard a lot of weird versions. Okay, they always experiment with weird stuff. Lord of the Rings, good grief, they had all kinds of crazy stuff in there. As for Voyage, Mr. Baer is in touch with a script advisor who left the project a year ago. First of all, okay, we don't know who this guy is. I'm sorry. I'm just skeptical. Maybe he's a great source, great guy. I don't know. Anyway, this guy said it was drifting from his Christian vision. It was not expressing the intent of C.S. Lewis nor the true story of the Don Treader. Okay, because I don't even know who this guy is, I have to be skeptical. Now, does this raise concerns? Yes. Sure, I'm concerned. If anyone says, okay, I've read the script, and I think it's drifting from his Christian vision, I'm going to say, oh, well, what made you think that? I'm curious, yeah, tell me more. That's a concern that I might have, and I'd like to hear more about it. And the fact that you have that concern, I'm hearing that. Okay, I'm not just throwing it to the wind. And yet, I am still to the point where I say, okay, how much does this really mean? I have, because it depends, because I think in many ways, thematically, I mean, if the film comes out as good as The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I'll be very happy. And did I think The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was handicapped by kind of taking out or changing some of the Christian messages? Yes. I think that certain things they just didn't get. For one thing, changing the focus of spring coming from Aslan to the children, that's a big change. And then the fact that they didn't include the deeper magic, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to enjoy that scene now just because they cut that out. But so sure, there was that was going on with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but went on to a certain extent with Prince Caspian. Although I think thematically less with Prince Caspian. So that's kind of where I sit as far as this Washington Times article. I'm not hugely concerned by this. It does raise some concerns really that I've already had, but there's not really enough evidence to validate it for me. I'll say that. So yeah, they're giving some of the same concerns, but they don't really bring anything new to the table except another chair. So that's all I have for now, and until next time, further up and further in.